Now, as a Bears fan, some of you may expect me to come on and every opportunity I get, crap all over the Green Bay Packers, call them the Fudge Packers, call them stupid cheeseheads, refer to Green Bay as Brown Bay, Wisconsin. Well, that last one I certainly do because it's true. But the simple reality is, as much as I want to hate the Green Bay Packers, and deep down fundamentally I do, I suppose, the reality is that when it comes to them and the Bears are such a second and third tier team by comparison in organization. They are so irrelevant to the Green Bay Packers that by result for Bears fans, the Packers should largely be irrelevant too, other than having been, mostly the standard bearers of that division for the past 3 decades. It's not even a rivalry anymore. It just isn't. But that said, seeing the way 2022 played out for the Packers certainly didn't hurt my feelings at all. You go from all of the offseason saga with Aaron Rodgers. He's coming off of back-to-back MVP awards. Is he going to come back? Is he going to retire? Is he going to demand a trade? What type of contract is he going to demand? How are you going to get him paid and taken care of? And what do you do with Jordan Love, the guy you spent in a first-round pick on a couple of years ago? You're going to waste him away on the bench. Then you finally come to terms with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to come back in 2022 only for them to send Davante Adams off to the fucking Las Vegas Raiders for a first and second round pick. And you're saying, what the hell here? Why would you bring back Aaron Rodgers, which would be an indication you would think of you want to go all in at this point, and then you trade away his best offensive weapon for draft picks that ultimately, at least one of them, you're going to spend on a defensive player because your general manager is a fucking moron. No. That's what they did. Instead of understanding the real definition of going all in, they go in a weird-ass different direction. Now they've got 2 first-round picks because they trade away the best weapon they have on offense with no real plan to replace them. So what do? Well, of course Coots would spend 2 first-round picks on fucking defensive players. Because, again, that's what a fucking idiot would do. And you say, well, that's a little bit harsh. Is it really? Because if you look at the Packers draft history, and I know it predates the current general manager, but outside of Jordan Love, tell me the last time the Green Bay Packers spent a first-round pick on an offensive player. Look it up on Wikipedia, because unless you're a hardier Packers fan, you're not going to know. Wasn't it Derek Sherrod in 2011, the offensive lineman? Wasn't it? I may be slightly off, but I'm not that far off, and that might actually be it. The point is you can look back over a decades-plus history of the Green Bay Packers, and consistently, year after year, they overinvest in the goddamn defense, and you saw me tweet this throughout the course of the season. Thank God they had all of that investment in that defense because they still suck. I guess it's not a surprise when you have a mediocre general manager, and frankly, when it comes to Matt LaFleur, I think a mediocre head coach, you get mediocre results. It wasn't reasonable to expect that Aaron Rodgers was going to come back at age 39 and win his 3rd straight MVP award. There was going to be some type of regression. It was quite a big regression in 2022. He looked really bad this year at different points in time. At moments, even looked a little washed compared to his very high standard of previous years. The offense, not surprising, when you trade away your number 1 weapon and you really don't replace that number 1 weapon, was middle of the road, both running and throwing the ball. So you paid all that money to Aaron Rodgers just to sit there and surround him with kind of half-ass weapons, and then you wonder why it doesn't go well. I mean, this is a mockery. The defense was also middle of the road. 17th in total points allowed, 17th in total yards allowed. So think about that for a second. Clearly, the Packers' philosophy in recent years has been that they want to be dumb dicks, and they want to build up their defense, and they really want to overly prioritize running the damn football, with the thought being that that's the way that you can win another championship with Aaron Rodgers. Except, ding dong, dumb dicks, big surprise, it ain't fucking worked. And as many times as you've invested first-round picks on the defensive side of the ball, your defense should be the best unit in the goddamn National Football League, and clearly it's not. It's middle of the damn road. And as easy as it is to just focus on the offensive failures of 2022 and talk about the lack of weapons, some of Rodgers' poor play, some of the challenges with the offensive line at times, the questionable philosophy at times with how heavily they might leverage the running game, as much as you can blame them, and there's certainly blame to go there, you also got to look at the defense and say, what the fuck are you doing under Joe Barry? Like, what is going on here? This is a team that's invested way too much into that side of the ball with high premium picks to get way too little in goddamn return. And then when you sit there and you trade away a Davante Adams, that's one thing. You make that decision. You say, hey, we're going to reinvest those resources in different places on the offense. No, like a fucking moron, you reinvest them on the defense. Devontae Wyatt? Quay Walker? Are you fucking kidding me? You can say, well, they drafted Christian Watson in round 2, and he looks like he's going to be the real deal. I absolutely agree with you. That's one pick on the offensive side. Imagine if you invested more in the offensive line. Maybe another goddamn wide receiver. Maybe a tight end. I don't fucking know. Like when you watch that Week 18 game against the Lions had nothing to play for. That perfectly summed up the Packers' season to be. Not nearly enough on offense, not nearly enough on defense, middle of the road, lost to a team that had absolutely nothing to play for. Rough go of it for the Green Bay Packers. And even to the point where you would have Aaron Rodgers talk about, hey, there's plenty of time. We think we can run the table. I don't know what the bluest of blue fucks you're talking about, Aaron, because as much as you wanted to have that delusion, the reality is you weren't quite the same, and the team around you certainly wasn't quite the same in 2022. So it wasn't going to happen. And now that you're the Packers, you got another offseason where you're going to have to deal with the Aaron Rodgers sub-drama of, is he going to want to retire? Does he want to come back? Do we want him back? Does he want to go somewhere else? Do you want to trade him somewhere else? Who would even want to trade for him at this point? And what type of return could he get? Like at some point in time, you should either shit or get off the pot. And the reality of the matter is that the Packers look like idiots for not trading him after that 2021 season. He was coming off of winning his second straight MVP award. You have Jordan Love in the fold. You need to find out what you have in Jordan Love. And if you say, well, maybe the fact they brought Rodgers back in 2022 was a reflection of they know what they have in Jordan Love and don't like him, well, that's fine. Then play Jordan Love for a year, let him suck, and then figure out how you're going to get a quarterback in the 2023 or 2024 draft. Instead, you got Jordan Love eating up a roster spot, taking a few million of cap space every year to do fucking nothing. And you're potentially on the hook to pay Aaron Rodgers up to $60 million this year if he does decide to come back. It's a really, really poor run franchise right now is what the Green Bay Packers are. They're not among the worst, but when you look at them relative to situation and circumstances and where they should be, you'd be hard-pressed to show me 4 or 5 more organizations with worse leadership and worse execution of a plan right now than what we have in Green Bay. This is really bad. And watch, if they do trade Aaron Rodgers, this will finally be the offseason that they invest in the offense. You're going to be like, yep, that just shows how stupid they were. They really were, too. Like, yeah, the Green Bay Packers, it's a mess right now, and I just don't see how it's going to get any better.